Okay, I have just started the screen sharing. Please confirm if my screen is visible. So, I think, okay, great. So let's do a small recap. In our previous class, we were discussing about what the class dot for name and new instance methods. Okay, I hope this topic has been clear to you. Okay, so the takeaway is clear takeaway is if you want to load the .class file without creating an object. Okay, if you want to load the .class file without creating an object, if you do not want to create an object, but still if you want to load the .class file manually, you can use what? You can use class.forName method. Okay, so this is the typical example. Okay, so this for name method is going to accept the fully qualified name of a particular class. Okay, the fully qualified name has to be mentioned here, right? And the specific .class file will be loaded into the JVM, and the static contact will be recognized and executed. Right? I think these things are very self-explanatory. And the next thing is for the class.forName. 1 minute. Please be on mute. Okay. So next thing is, and if you want to okay, so this thing is very important. As soon as you are specifying the exact path, okay, the .class file will be searched in 3 areas. JVM is going to search for the specific .class files in 3 areas. First area is in the current location, and second location is in the Java predefined library, and the third location is in the class path environmental variables. Okay, if the JVM is unable to find the respective .class file in these 3 locations, and this is a specific error that we are going to get, class not found exception. Okay, if you get a question like what does it mean to be a class not found exception, okay, your answer should be what? Okay, the moment you try to give the fully qualified name to load the particular .class file manually, and if the JVM is unable to find this .class file in any of these 3 locations, then the the exception will be popping up in the console saying that class not found exception. Okay, and these are the points that I have just defined each and every point in an elaborated fashion. If you do this, you will get. Okay. And after this, so metadata, so you can also get the metadata of a class with the help of forName method. Like with this object reference, you can use the get name, get package, get constructors, and get classes to get the metadata. Okay, and we have new instance method. Okay, if you want to call the constructor, if you want to call the methods on top of a specific class, which is placed in the class.forName method. Okay, you will go for new instance method. Okay, and we have done a big great we did a lot of deep dive into this topic in the day before yesterday's session. Okay, please go through this one. If you have any doubts, and get back to me. Okay, that's it. So class.forName method and new instance method has been completed. Here today the topic is going to be what? It is going to be, we will be discussing about factory methods in Java. Okay, so again these factory methods are categorized into 2 types: static factory methods, and the second one is instance factory methods. Okay, so don't worry about what is a factory method in Java. We are going to see these things in detail now. Okay, so typically, so let us take a small example. Okay, so this is the example class. Okay, so I am defining a constructor here. Okay, so very simple, guys. I have taken a package. The name of the package is XYZ. Okay, inside this package I have defined 2 classes. One is class A, right, and the second one is class test. So we have two classes in the package XYZ. Okay, so in the class A, I have defined a constructor. Okay, this is a default, by definition, it's a default constructor. I mean, the constructor has been placed by the programmer, so it is a non-parameterized constructor. Okay, it is not holding any access modifiers. Like, and next thing is I have a method void test method. Okay, now so inside this test method, I am just placing something to be displayed in the console, so that we will get to know that if the test method is getting executed or not. Okay, so this is test method. Okay, so now you tell me one thing. So if I ever add to execute this test method, it is mandatory for me to create an object, yes or no? Right? Because this is an instance method. Firstly, this is an instance method. Okay, to invoke or to call any instance method, object creation is mandatory. Yes or no? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? Object creation is mandatory to call instance method. Or I can also say that non-static method. Do you agree with me or not? Non-static method. Right? Object creation is mandatory. Right? Now focus here. If I want to call this method, okay, so this method call can happen on top of a reference variable. What does it mean? I need to create an object. Okay, so I need to create an object for the specific class. When I say specific, it means this method is part of class A. So object needs to be created for the class A. Yes or no? Right? So object needs to be created for the class A. So A obj equal to new A. We know this already. We are discussing this once again. Okay, why we are discussing it once again, you will get to know in some time. Okay. Now with this object reference variable, by using this object reference variable, don't you think that I can call the test method so that my output is going to be what? My output is going to be test itself. Test will be displayed on the console. Yes or no? Okay, let me save this, or let me clear clear the files that is already there in the respective path. Okay, so that we can observe this better. That's why. Okay. I am opening the command prompt. So let us change the directory. It is space Java. Okay, it is pointing to the same directory. Okay, let's start from the beginning. I want to save this file, so I am using Control S. So literally I am using Control S to save this file. Okay, you don't see that from your side because it's a keyboard thing. Huh? Okay, so test.java, it has been saved successfully. Okay, now we do the compilation. For the compilation, the command is java c space -d. Why -d? Because I am using a package here. So when you are defining a package, so the compilation command is going to be what? We should include the directory for the package. So I want to store this package. I want to create a package in the current directory. So I will use dot. Okay, this is defining the directory. Okay, and dot is defining the path, current path. Dot means current path. The same path. I mean, in the same path, create a package. Okay, now you see, let us do the comparison. So in the real time, you can see now only one file is there, test.java. Okay, java c space -d space. So test.java it will be compiled successfully. Now in the real time you're able to see that XYZ folder is getting generated, right? You're able to see this has happened real time. Okay, now java space for the execution, the command is java space XYZ package name dot the class. The output is test. Okay, we know this already, so we have been seeing these things for a long time. Again, why this explanation? You might be thinking that. Okay, I will come to that point. Okay, now my requirement is, now see here I am calling a constructor, right? Okay, for the object creation, in the process of creating an object, I am calling the constructor. Okay, now I am keeping this as private. This is not an ordinary constructor. This is a constructor, but the access modifier is directly specified as private. So when I say private, what does it really mean, guys? When I say private, you cannot call this constructor outside the class. Right? So this private, what does it mean? I cannot call this constructor outside the class. From where? Outside the class. So I cannot do this. I cannot perform the constructor call. So this constructor is being called, a constructor is being called from a different class. So this is a test class. Inside the test class, I am calling a constructor, but a constructor is not public. It's a private constructor. Private means it is strictly meant for the current class. Okay, it is strictly meant for the current class. You cannot call this constructor outside. Okay, when I run this code, what we will get usually, a as private access in the object, you cannot call it outside. See? So this is what the output is. We are getting this. Okay, but my requirement is, let us specify my requirement. I want to call this test method. Without using the constructor. So this become impossible now, because I have defined the constructor as private. Constructor has been defined as private. So there is no point of creating an object with a constructor, okay, which is specified with private access modifier. This is not possible. When you try to do this, what happens? Literally you get error. You are getting an error. What error you are getting? See, so a constructor has private access in a, so it means you cannot call. Okay, but still I want to call this method. Is there any other way that I can do to call this method? So this is a test method. This is what? This is an instance method. Okay, I want to call this instance method from outside the class. So object creation is mandatory. So I need to create object. But I am facing a trouble here. There is a trouble here. We have a trouble here. What trouble we have? Okay, if this constructor is public, no issues. You can call a public constructor from outside the class, no issues. You can call a protected constructor from outside the class, no issues, it's fine. You can call a default constructor from outside the class, no issues. Okay, all these three access modifiers will work. Okay, but this will not work, right? This will not work because the private constructor. Okay, but without using this line, I cannot do this also. Object.test. This will also not work. I cannot call an instance method without creating an object. Firstly, okay, object has been created. Okay, it is not mandatory. It won't be a mandatory. In reality, even though if you create an object, you will encounter a situation where the constructor is specified as a private constructor. Okay, if this is the case, so you cannot create an object. So here object creation is not possible. Why not possible? Constructor is private. First thing. Second thing. Okay, object is constructor. So without creating an object, I cannot call the instance method. Bottleneck situation is there or not? Yes or no? Without creating an object, I cannot call instance method, because with the help of object reference only I can able to call the instance method. Okay, but I am able to create the object reference, but the object creation itself is not possible because of this private constructor. Is there any other way that I can do, or I can manipulate the program so that I can able to call this test method without creating an object? Okay, my question is, without creating an object, is there any other way I can invoke the instance method? Or is there any other manipulation that I can do? manipulation I can do to invoke what? Instance method. Come on guys, tell me. Do you have any answers? Think and tell me. Firstly, tell me if you have understood my question. Tell me if my question is understood, if my explanation has been understood so far. What is the bottleneck situation that we are facing here? Come on, tell me. Are you able to follow my question first of all? Are you able to getting what I'm trying to convey? Come on guys, everyone. I need an explanation here. I need your help here. What kind of help I need? Somehow I should be able to call test method. Object creation is not able to be possible. Why? Because the constructor is private. Is there any other way? Can you think if there is any other way? Come on, Darshini, Jyoti S, Chaitanya, Krishna Prasad, Ganesh Kolasani, Jyoti N. Type. You can type yes, or you can give me the suggestions, or you can type I don't know. I don't know, sir. I'm waiting for a response. That's why I'm asking you. So that I will explain you. That's why I'm asking you. It depends upon your answer, so that I will explain you in such a way that you are getting full out of it. Okay, so try to be interactive so that we can end the session soon. No, I'm asking, is there any other way? Is there any other way? Okay, Chaitanya says new instance. Okay, so this is what I'm expecting, sir. Please be interactive, okay? Please try to respond. Okay, I was asking you, is there any other way that I can call the test method? Very simple, guys. Look at this test method. First thing about this test method is, what is the observation that we have? First observation is what? It's an instance method. Okay, whenever you find an instance method or instance member, it is mandatory to create object. Object creation is mandatory to call this method. If I want to call this method, definitely object creation is mandatory. Yes or no? Object creation is mandatory. Okay, how can you create an object? With the help of new keyword. Okay, based upon this test method, go back to the program. This test method is placed inside the class A. So object needs to be created for class A. So a obj equal to new A. Okay, but there is a problem with this instruction. Okay, the A constructor is private in nature. So when you define the constructor specifically as a private, it means you are doing a restriction of object creation from outside the class. So it means you are not allowing to create an object. First thing. Okay, then your answer should be like, sir, keep the constructor, make the constructor as non-private or public. If that is the case, this is possible. If this is possible, this is also possible. First thing is, if I turn this as public or any other thing, if I leave this blank, it is going to be possible. But if I keep it as private, it is not possible, right? But I want this to be private only, but still I want to call this method. Okay, so what I can do here, very simple, no? What I can do, okay, so let us forget about this. Okay, if I change this method to static, okay, without object creation, I can call, right, with the help of class name, right? A dot test. Done, no? Did I create any object here? Because I found a threat here. A threat is, if I create an object, I am unable to call this method. So what is the one way of thinking? What is one approach? What is the one manipulation that we can do? Making this method as static method. So when it is a static method, does static method require any object creation? No, you can directly use the class name and you can call the method. Just run this, you will get the same output. Now the method is successfully called test. Are you getting this? Have you got the first thing? Okay, good, Chaitanya. Good, very good. Everyone getting this? Yeah. See, now this okay. Now I am satisfied with my approach. Okay, I did some manipulation, I got satisfied, I'm very happy with that. But my second requirement is, so this is the first requirement. Let me copy this and paste it here. First approach. What is the first approach that I have just explained? Make the method as static. So this is a program. Okay, but second approach. Okay. Second approach, I am not supposed to make any changes on the instance method. I want my method to be instance method itself. Okay, I want my method to be instance, but I also want to keep the constructor as private constructor, but I still want to call this method. What is the way that I can do? What is the way that we can do? Okay, to achieve this, we will use what? Static factory method. To achieve this, we will use a helper method. To achieve this, we will use an helper method which is called as static factory method. Why it is called a static factory method, and what does the helper method is going to do? It is going to help us to achieve what? To achieve the method calling, instant method calling without the object creation. How is it possible? Let's see. Same example. Okay, so let me remove all this for the better clarity. Focus here case, it is going to be very interesting. Okay, I want this to be what? Okay, I'm making changes in the, this is the instance method. Okay, see, I cannot do this. A obj equal to new a. I cannot do this because of private. So I do not want to create object, but I still want to call test method. At the same time, second thing is I cannot do this also. I cannot make this method as static, but still I want to call this method. For that, we will use an helper method. What method we will use? Helper method. So I am keeping the name of the method as helper method. Okay. We are building a method. We are actually building a method to achieve and to fulfill our requirement. What is our requirement? I want to call this method without creating an object. Okay. I have used my own method, helper method. Name of the method is help. You can take the method name as anything. So I am taking the method name as helper method for the better understanding. Okay. So now I am creating an object inside this helper method. Now you might be wondering, just now I have said that object creation is not possible for the constructor that is defined as private, but outside the class it is not possible. Okay, but I am creating an object within the class A. Within the class A, I am creating an object inside helper method. So this helper method is part of the same class. No issues. I can do that. But outside the class, I cannot do. Here I cannot do. Here I cannot define because outside the class. Okay. Inside the class, I can do a obj equal to new a. Okay, and after creating an object, this will be returning what? This reference obj reference will be returned. Okay, so this return type is going to be a type itself, class type itself. A obj new a, it is going to return obj, it is going to be a type itself, and this is going to be of static. Okay, let us use the paint screen for the better understanding. Paint. Okay, so this is the paint screen. Now this is our code. So let us separate the main method from this code. Okay, I am not doing anything in the main method. So now this is the constructor. The constructor is a private constructor. We have a private constructor and we have a test method. Okay, but my requirement is I want to do what? I want to call the test method. I want to do the method call without creating an object. Okay, without creating an object, without changing this method to static. Okay. In order to achieve that, I am creating my own method. This is called as helper method. This helper method is helping me to create an object and returning the reference. Returning what? Returning the reference. So this is a static method. I can say that. So this method can be categorized, not a categorization. You can say that. You can call this as a static method. Okay. By method definition, it is static. Okay, by method functionality, it is an helper method. It is helping us to achieve something. That's why it is called as helper method. Okay. So completely, by looking at the business logic, I can say that static factory method. Why static factory method? This is helping us. This is helping us to develop something, to produce something. Okay, that's why I'm using the word factory. Static factory method. It is helping us to produce something. Here it is producing what? It is creating object references. Okay. Okay, sir, I have understood all this. How this helper method is going to help us to call test method. That is our intention. I want to call test method from the main class, or I can say that from the main method. From the main method, I want to call what? I want to call test method. Okay. So in order to do that, I am not supposed to do this. This is blindly not possible. Very clear. A obj equal not. It is not possible. It is not possible. Okay. If this is not possible and this is also not possible. If object itself is not, we are not able to create an object, we cannot call what? With this reference variable, we cannot call the test method because object creation is not possible. So this is also not possible. Okay, these two things are not possible. Okay, these two things are not possible. I'm sorry, this is not possible. This is not possible. Okay, because of this private keyword, private constructor, we are calling it from outside the class. We cannot. This is also not possible. At the same time, I'm not supposed to change this to static. I'm not supposed to change this to static. I should not do this also. This is another condition. This is another condition. I'm not supposed to do this. Okay, so I should not do this. Okay, static. So it should be remained as an instant method. Okay, so I have created an helper method. What this helper method is doing, see, you know. Okay, so the moment you call this helper method, so how I can call this helper method? A reference. It is going to give us the reference variable. So a reference equal to a dot helper method. A reference equal to a dot helper method. Second one is, okay, with this reference variable. Okay, with this reference variable, this is a variable name. You can give any name, no issues. So this is a reference variable name. Okay, so with this by using this reference variable, I am going to call what? I am going to call test method. Okay, now I can call test method. Do you see any constructor is being called? Let's just look at this code. Look at these 2 lines of code. These 2 lines of code is, we are not calling any constructor. Are we calling any constructor from outside the class? We are not calling any constructor. we cannot call constructor first of all because the constructor is private. Second thing is we are able to call the test method, which is an instance method, without creating an object directly. Okay, so when you give this line of code, you will get error. We know that you get error. That's why I have crossed this. And if you are getting error itself, this is also not possible. Okay, the possibility is happening from here, guys. Actually, don't you think so? Okay, so what we are trying to do is this: we are calling the helper method with the class name a.helper method. Okay, so this helper method is being called. So this piece of code, this line of instruction is calling the helper method. The moment you call the helper method, this helper method is returning something. Returning what? Returning the reference variable obj. Is returning obj. Obj is what? Obj is reference variable. Okay, this obj is a reference variable, and you need to catch this reference variable. This obj needs to be caught. So you are storing this obj. Okay, you are catching this obj and you are storing this obj inside this reference. Okay, you are catching the reference variable here. Okay, here the reference variable we are catching, and again we are storing this reference variable to the reference itself. On top of this reference, you are calling the test method. Indirectly, object creation is happening, but not in the test class, but in the class here. Okay, it is just like we are using an helper class. This helper class is doing what? It is doing the object creation on behalf of us. Okay, with the help of this reference variable, we are able to catch this reference variable indirectly. On top of this reference variable, we are going to going to call the test method, which is an instance method. Okay, if I run this code, you will get this. Okay, what I just did, I want to call this helper method, right? So this is a static method. What I can do, class name dot helper method. Okay, when I call this method, it is going to return something to us. Okay, to catch this returned value, I am using another variable. Okay, name of the variable is reference itself. Okay, so this the reference variable is of type A. Okay, now with this reference variable, I am calling what? I am calling test method. Okay, if I run this code, I am able to achieve this. I am able to invoke this test method. Okay, to invoke this instance method, we are not creating an object with a new keyword, right? And we are not making any kind of manipulations for this method. The method remains non-static, but still we are able to call with the help of what? With the help of the helper method. Okay, this helper method is called what? This helper method is called static factory method. Static factory method. Why it is called a static factory method? It is helping us to achieve something. What is that something? We are able to call the instance method without creating an object. We are able to do what? We are able to call the instance method without creating an object. Right? So let me include this example in the notes. This is the second approach. To achieve this, we will use an helper method which is called a static factory method. So this is what the static factory method is. Okay, so theoretically we can write it like it is a Java method. It can be used to return a particular class object reference. First thing. Okay, factory method is an idea provided by the factory design pattern. We will understand what is it, what is the design pattern and all. Okay, so there are two types of factory methods. Okay, what is the first type? We have just seen now. Okay, it's called a static factory method. Okay, second one is what? The instance factory method. Instance factory method. Okay, so what is a static factory method? Static factory method, it is if any static method returns an object reference value, then it is called as what? Static factory method. Okay, example, the same example. So this method is typically a static factory method. Why it is called a static factory method? Okay, when you invoke this method is helping you to create an object indirectly. Okay, so the above method is helping us to create an object indirectly. Why we have to create an object indirectly? Because directly we are not able to create. Okay, why directly we are not able to create? Because the constructor is found to be private. For the private constructor outside the class, you cannot use what? You cannot use this obj equal to new a. Outside the class, you cannot use this. You cannot call or you cannot create an object outside the class, because main method is an outside the class. It's not part of the class here, outside the class. There will be a situation where you have to call the instance method without creating an object. If that is the situation, you will use what? You will use a kind of helper method which is called as the static factory method. So this is an example. Okay, you are building a method, you are building an helper method. Okay, this helper method is helping you to create an object. Object is being created for the private constructor. No issues, it is part of the same class. This constructor is part of the same class. Okay, and after invoking this particular method, it is helping you to get what? The reference variable. It is helping you to get what? The reference variable. Let us understand this. Okay, I do System.out.println. Focus here. If you want to print this reference, what you will get? Usually you will get what? Reference variable. You will get this. You know already, toString method will be invoked. Okay. This is how the JVM is going to represent the reference variable, right? But this reference variable is generated from which class? From the class A inside this method. This method is generating the reference variable. Okay, this method is helping us to generate the reference variable. Okay, why? Because the obj, okay, this obj is giving us what? Okay, this obj, if you see, if I try to print the reference variable, same reference variable, okay, if you want to print obj here, okay, this obj is going to generate one reference variable that I am trying to print by using System.out.println statement, and I am returning this. The same time, okay, I am trying to call this method outside the class. I am trying to call this method. I am trying to catch the reference variable. Okay, don't you think that we are going to get the same reference variable? Same reference variable. Why same reference variable? Same, the obj is returning something. This something is being caught here. Okay, and this value we are trying to print it by using System.out.println. Don't you think that obj equal to reference, both are same? Because what is being returned from here, is getting, we are catching that, we are extracting that here. So both are going to be same. Whatever is returning, The same thing is going to be here. It means it is creating an object. Okay, we are just using this reference variable to call the method, to call the respective method. That's it. Object is being created outside the class, and we are doing what? We are using that reference to call the respective instance method. As simple as that. Right? So we have okay, the above method is helping us to create an object indirectly. So we got this. Okay, next thing is examples, real-time examples. So when I talk about real-time examples, so we have just discussed this case yesterday. Class C equal to class dot format. Okay, this is one example. Same thing. Okay, this is one way of calling a static method. Same thing that we have done here. Same thing we have done here. Okay, class.forName is one of the real-time examples or the inbuilt methods to understand the static factory method. Okay, fully qualified. Okay. So we will discuss, we have already discussed this example, and there are some examples. We have what? Number format nt equal to, okay, number format dot get instance. This is another factory method. Okay, and we have date format. We'll discuss everything, no worries. So df equal to date format dot get date instance. The method instance is going to be 1. Okay, and we have runtime rt equal to runtime dot get runtime. Okay, so these are the few examples of static methods, real-time examples. Real-time examples. Okay, and what is our example? This is our example. User defined example. So this is how we have created a static method. This is name of the class. Okay. On top of the class, we are calling the method. Okay, by looking at this, can't you say that this class itself is representing the name of the class? This is the method. Number format is the name of the class. This is the method. Date format is the name of the class. This is the method. Runtime is the name of the class. This is the method. So when I say method, they are all helper methods or what? They all these methods. Okay. For name and number format, sorry, get instance, all these methods, get date instance, get runtime. Okay, all these methods are called as static factory methods. Okay. So this is our own static factory method, helper method. We design, you can keep any name, depends upon your requirement. It's called as user defined helper, user defined static factory method. Okay. Predefined static factory methods. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, are we good so far? Type yes, no in the chat box. Okay, now you see the idea is, so why we go for static factory design pattern is because we are able to create object without specifying the exact class. For example, look at this example. Okay, so the so we are calling something. We are calling test method. Okay, and the object is also created. Object is also created, but this object is not created inside the test class. Okay, object has been created outside the class. Okay. Without specifying the exact class object creation, we are able to call the instance method. Okay, so we can also say it that you don't worry about the class specificity. Okay, you just depend upon the helper class as object reference, or you depend upon the static factory methods without depending upon the new keyword to achieve what? Loose coupling, right? So the next topic is we have something to be discussed here, instance factory method. Okay, so this is the static, this is all about the static factory method. Now we will discuss about what? Instance factory method. Instance factory methods. Okay, same example. There is nothing to be changed here. We will take, okay, not this one. Okay. If any instance method returns an object reference value, then it is called as what? Instance factory method. It's called as what? Instance factory method. You need to define an instance method that is going to return what? It is going to return what? Object instance. So that is called as what? The instance factory method. Previously, when you use the static method to return the object reference, only difference is you use static method if you want to return an object. Here you will use what? Instance method to return an object. Okay. Examples, real-time examples for this. For the, you will see, if we will look into the program, I will complete the theory. Instance factory, instance factory. Instance. So we have a string class. Okay, this string class is going to, you can place any literal inside a string class. Any data, if you want to store any sequence of characters, any text messages, okay, any text data, okay, literally you can store a lot of sequence of characters. For example, I love Java. Okay, so this is one of the examples of instance factory method. Okay, example, string str1. Okay, I on top of this reference variable, str, okay, I can do what? I can concat. Concatenation means, let me explain this for I love Java and Python. Okay, I'm using this reference variable. Okay, I'm using a method, concat method. Concat method is a predefined method. It is a predefined method. What predefined method? It is not a predefined method. It's a predefined instance factory method. Concat method is a predefined instance factory method. Another example. So I want to string is a class. Okay, let me do str2. Okay, so if I want to do like if I want to do str dot to lower, don't worry about these things and all. Okay, these are the future topics. For now, just understand that you're trying to understand instant factory methods. Okay, when I do this, the moment I do this, okay, I'm using something like to lowercase. This to lowercase is specifying about a method. What kind of method is going to specify? It is specifying about a predefined instance factory method. Okay. When you use this method, okay, the moment you have used this method, the moment this method has been used, okay, when you try to print System.out.println str1. Okay, the output is going to be what? This I love Java and Python. I'll show this example. Let us go back to our code. Okay, let us remove all this. For now it is not required. Okay, this is also not required. Okay, we are just talking about the predefined classes and predefined instance factory methods. Okay, I'm taking a string. String is a class. String str equal to hello Java. Okay, now I'm taking another string. Okay, this time I'm changing the reference variable name to str1. Okay, by using this reference variable str dot, I'm using a predefined instance factory method, concat method. Okay, so this concat method is going to do the concatenation. It is going to do what? It is going to attach the two strings one after the another. Okay. Hello Java and Python. Okay, System.out.println. I want to print str1. I am printing str1. I am printing. Okay, let's see the output. I love Java and Python. Right, so output is fine. Okay, the idea is, so I am using something here. I'm using a method here, concat method here I'm using. Okay, so this concat method is called as what? Instance factory method. It's a factory method. It's a helper method. Okay, it is a predefined method, but predefined instance factory method. Okay, like this there is another method. Okay, like this there is another method. So now you see all the letters are somewhat caps and smalls. First letter is in caps, and every first word is in capital letter. But I want to convert all this into the small letter, all this to be in the lowercase letter. Okay, for this I will use string str2 equal to str1. Okay, I am using this str1, but I am using a method to lower case. Okay, here I am using something to lowercase. It is a method. It is an inbuilt instance factory method. The moment you use this method, is going to convert all this information into lowercase. To see that, I am using what? System.out.println. Okay, str2. Don't worry about this string thing and all. Just try to understand about the methods. That's it. Okay, I will explain. We are going to do a deep dive about this strings concept. It is going to be a 4-hour session. Okay, don't worry about this. Don't think that you are not getting much. Okay, you will be getting it. So this will make more sense after 2 to 3 classes. Okay, I did not save this properly, I guess. Let me do this once again. Okay, now everything is in lowercase, right? I love Java and Python. If I want to do everything in the uppercase, I will be using another factory method called to uppercase. So this method is going to convert. It has logic it has some logic inside. Okay, the logic says is going to convert all the characters into the uppercase. See, all the characters are in uppercase. These are the real-time examples that you can focus on. Let us design our own example to understand about this instance factory method. Okay, so ideally, so these concepts are part of what? These concepts are part of Java design patterns, guys. Okay, so these concepts are part of what? Java design patterns. So you really want to achieve the loose coupling in the sense, without using the new keyword, without depending upon this new keyword to create an object, you will depend upon the factory methods. Okay, you can write the logic in a, it is just like, for example, think like that you are visiting a pizza restaurant. Okay, you just want a pizza. Very simple. I think it will make sense. You just want to eat pizza, guys. To eat pizza, you are visiting a local restaurant. Okay, you are saying that you just want a pizza, but there are many varieties of pizza. Many varieties inside. Okay, so you don't want to see those options. Just you are saying what? You just want a pizza to eat. You are okay with any variety. Okay, For that, so once you order the pizza, the salesperson comes and they will try to ask you for the specificity. You are not very specific. You're saying you just want a pizza. Will get whatever he likes. Likewise, if you want to buy a car, buy a Maruti car, okay. If you go to the factory, Maruti factory. I'm not talking about the showroom. Maruti factory. Okay, they have patents for all the models, not for one model. They have their own design patterns for all the models. Maruti comes up with many models, many models. But your idea is you just want a car. You don't want its model, nothing and all. You're happy with any car, but it should be Maruti, right? So if you want to convert this analogy to the real-time example, okay. So there are different types. There are different types. For example, in our previous example, I can able to achieve this. So this one. Where was it? Which was it? Okay, this one. I can able to achieve this. Okay, how I can achieve this? A obj equal to new a without using the constructors private. Okay, I can able to create n number of object as per my requirement. I can create here. Okay, or else I can create another class. I can create another class B. Another class B. Inside this class, I can create in this object. I can create this object. I can have n number of classes. I can create this object. But I do not want to show, okay, on which class, in which class the object is created. For which class the object is created. I want to hide that. I do not want to show for which class the object is being created. I want to hide that information. I want to hide that information. In order to achieve that, we do what we usually go for the design patterns. This is one of the design patterns which is called as factory method design pattern. Making sense? It will make more sense, not now. Okay, we will understand this better in the future topics. Okay, this is the concept of advanced Java. A factory design pattern is concept of advanced Java. I wanted to introduce this so that you will be very comfortable to understand the future topics. Okay. For now, when you want to know more about the factory method, so this knowledge is enough. This knowledge is more than enough. Okay, static factory method and instance factory method. Okay, we'll see one example on instance factory method. Okay, if you get locked out of the meeting, try to do the rejoin. Okay, don't assume that the classes are over. The classes will be 10 more minutes. Try to do the rejoin if you get logged out. Okay. Yes, no. Yeah, good. Okay, let us do a small program on this. Let us wait for others, guys. I hope my voice is audible and my screen is visible. Okay, thanks for confirming. Then we will start. I think these people are not joining. Okay, now this time I'm changing this name of the class as a car class. Okay, this is the car class. Okay, inside this class I am taking a variable called private string brand. Just I have just declared a variable. The variable name is private string brand. Okay, so I am defining a constructor. Constructor name should be same as the class name. Okay, so this constructor is going to accept a parameter which is called as the brand itself, string brand. This dot brand equal to, Okay, I want to transfer this to the class level variables. That's why I'm using this keyword. We know this already. I've been discussing these things for a long time. Okay, you should not be asking what is this. Okay. So this is a private because we are dealing with what? We are dealing with factory method. So definitely we are dealing with factory method. Definitely the constructor should be a private. That will be the meaning. The purpose of dealing with the factory method is to deal with the private constructor. You cannot create an object. Object restriction is there. Okay. So now I am, okay, one variable is there, one private constructor is there. Okay, now I am creating a static method, static car. Okay, create car. Okay, this car is accepting an argument. Don't worry about this code, make it very clear. Just focus the lines that I'm using. Okay, car obj equal to new car. So this is a helper method that is creating an object for the car. Okay, this is accepting the brand, return obj. Okay, so here if you want to identify the helper method, very simple to be identified. When you find any method that is creating an object, that is called as an helper method. Okay, this is the helper method, right? Because if you look at the business logic inside this method, this helper method is helping to create an object for the private constructor. Okay, why I am passing the brand here? Because this car constructor is accepting a brand which is of string type. This is also string type. Okay, now I am using another method called public string get brand. Okay, return brand. Okay, let me do okay. Okay, so this is the one class. Let us study this class. Okay, this is one class. This one class. Okay, now you see if you ever had to identify the helper method, so this is going to be the helper method, because this helper method is helping us to do what? It's helping us to create an object. Okay, this is an helper method, and this is focusing on what? This is a instance method. Can I say instance method? This is helper method, this instance method. What is another identification? This is what? This is the constructor. What is another identification? This is called variable. So we have four things inside car class. Inside car class, how many things we have? We have four things defined in a specific way. First one is what? The variable we have defined. Okay, and we have a constructor, but the name of the constructor is in private. Okay, name of the constructor is car. I'm sorry. Access modifier of the constructor is private in nature. Okay, and we have two methods, but by focusing on this method, you should be in a position to tell what kind of method is this. Okay, look at this method is creating an object. So this is a factory method, static factory method. Why? Because we are using object is being created in top of static. Okay, and we have what? We have another method get brand. This is what? This is an instance method. I want to call this method. Purpose is I want to do the method call. I want to call this method. To call this method, what I need to have? I need to have the main method. So let us define the main method. Okay, so this is the main method. So this is main method. Okay, main method. Okay, so in this main method, we know already what we know already. We cannot do the object creation. I cannot do this. Car obj equal to new car. Okay, so this is called what? I cannot alto. I cannot create an object. Why I cannot create an object? There is a restriction. This is not possible. It's not possible because this car has a constructor. This car class has a constructor which is private, strictly private. Not possible. We cannot do this. Never. It is never possible. Both are not possible. So these are not possible. I cannot create object. Second thing is I cannot call this get brand method directly. This is an instance method. I need to call this method. I need to call this instance method. But without creating an object, I cannot call this. So I am depending upon what? I am depending upon this helper method. Okay. This helper method is called as what? The static factory method. Static factory method. Okay. So I can call create. Name of the method is what? Name of the method is create car, and it is accepting some parameter. The parameter is brand. Okay. So in order to call this, what I can do? I can use the class name to call static method. Yes or no? I can use the class name to call the static method. What is the name of the class? Name of the class is car itself. Okay. The method call can be like this, guys. The method call can be what? Car class name dot method name. Method name is create car. Okay. This method is accepting a parameter. I am passing the brand. The brand is anything you can pass. Alto I am passing. I am preferring to pass Alto. Okay. This method is again returning something here. Don't you think so? It is returning an object. Okay. What is happening here? You are passing Alto here, right? Okay. This Alto will be extracted by this extractor to brand. I mean, this Alto will be assigned to this brand variable. Okay. Inside this constructor, you are also passing what? Alto. Okay. New object. So because of this constructor is being called. Private constructor is being called because they are within the same class. You are setting the value Alto to this private constructor. Okay. And this Alto is again getting assigned to what? This dot brand means to the class level variable Alto. Okay, now brand has become Alto. Now brand has become Alto. Okay, you need to collect this because since you are calling this method, it means it is returning something to you. Okay, you need to, it is returning an object, you need to collect that. Right, for that I am specifying an instruction here. The instruction is car object. Car object is equal to car. Okay, so by using this object reference, I can directly use this object reference, right? System.out.println. Okay, object dot, I'm calling get brand. 1 minute. System.out.println. Okay, by using this object reference variable, I am calling what? The instance method, which is nothing but get brand method. When I do this, I will be getting the brand as Alto. Okay, let us test this. Same example. Okay, car obj equal to car dot create car. Create car. Okay, I am passing a value Alto here. Okay, and by using this reference variable, I will be calling what? System.out.println. Okay, obj dot what? Get brand. Okay. If I pass Alto, the output should be Alto. Output should be what? The output should be Alto. Okay, if I pass what? WagonR, the output should be WagonR. Whatever I am passing here, the output should be that. Okay, I'm not creating, I'm not able to do the object creation every time. With the help of these factory methods, in the real time, the runtime, I'm able to pass some values. Okay, based on that, I'm able to get the output. You can pass any values in the runtime. Based on that, you're able to get the output without even using the new keyword. Without even using what? Without even using the new keyword. So this example, and again this example, this is also called as static factory method. So this instance factory method is very simple. Okay, any method that is returning an object, any instance method that is returning an object is called as what? The instance factory method. You remove static keyword here. Okay, this method becomes instance factory method. Okay, but in order to call this method, in order to call instance factory method, you cannot do this approach. This approach is not possible. This approach is possible only for the static methods. For the instance method, it is not possible. Okay, to even achieve this further, what we will do, we need to deal with 3 more classes, or you need to add another class like class bike. Okay, class bike, this is class car, class bike, class car, test class. So you need to create an object for a bike class. Let me do. There is a bike constructor. Okay, and here I can have a method like, let me take it as void b void here I can create object for the car class, car obj equal to new car, okay. This return type can be object type, then obj. So I can do like this to call to generate the instance factory method. So this is how you can create an object for a different class. So this is a car class, okay, and I am creating an object for the class car class in the bike class. In the bike class, I am creating an object for the car class. Okay, I can call this method. This method one can be called by creating an object for bike. This method one can be called. On top of this reference, I can make use of calling the instance method. Okay, you don't worry about this code. Tomorrow we will again continue discussing this. I am just trying to give an introduction for the instance factory method. Okay, I'm just giving the introduction for the instance factory method. So this is how we can utilize the instance factory method. You are not supposed to use static keyword. Okay, so for now, you just try to understand the exact definition of static factory methods and the factory methods, and how we are supposed to create how we are supposed to call instance method without creating an object. Okay, first point is you are not supposed to use new keyword second point is you have to call the instance you have to call the instance method okay constructor must be private. So this is the focus. This is our actual focus. Okay, first you practice for the static factory method. Tomorrow I will give you a small example about the instance factory method. It's not very important for now. Okay, and tomorrow we'll also discuss about the another design pattern which is called a singleton design pattern. Okay, so with this we can conclude today's session. Do you have any doubts? If you have any doubts, you can just ask me now.